So it's Tuesday, January 28th, 2020 as I record this. And it'll be released tomorrow, sent out to my email list. But I say this to you, I bring this up because it's only been 2 days since the tragedy of the death of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 other people in a helicopter crash in California. And so the emotions of what that has meant in our world and how it's reverberated around the world are still quite raw, and it's been tough. And the way the world is processing it, is we're still going through it. And so, at the risk of alienating people who are either, they don't want to hear anymore, it's been too much, or overly emotional. Some maybe don't care, you weren't all that into either sports or basketball or Kobe Bryant, whatever. Although I don't imagine people watching my video would be that way, because my audience is mainly coaches and then athletes and parents of athletes. So I would imagine most of you were in some way touched by it, no matter where in the world you are. I have a lot of followers elsewhere in the world, but Kobe Bryant was a world-renowned athlete, and he was well-known in the world. He was a worldly person. The man spoke, 5, 6 languages. I mean, his dad had played in the NBA and then overseas, and so he was well-traveled, and so he was well-known around the world, very popular around the world. So this isn't just an American thing. It's not just a basketball thing. It's not just a sport thing. His death has rocked us. He's 41 years old. You're not supposed to go that young when you are so healthy, so vibrant. You have such... Let's face it, this man not only just had finished his basketball career a short time ago, he was on into a new career and a new life in which I believe he was going to make an even greater impact, because that's the kind of person he seemed to be. And so it has rocked us. And yet I don't want to just not talk about him and talk about something else. And so I wanted to take today to talk about some things that I learned, while watching Kobe Bryant, that I think are great lessons for all of us. And I'll admit, I wasn't a fan. Not that I didn't like him, but he wasn't my guy. Dr. J was my guy growing up, and then Michael Jordan as I got a little older. I'm from Chicago, so that area. So, Jordan was my guy. And then through the years, you have various people who you latch onto. Kobe was not one of mine. I liked watching him play. I thought he was as good a player as there ever was. And let's face it, people always talk about Jordan and LeBron James as the two great, who's the best, Jordan and LeBron's knocking on the door. Sorry, Kobe needs to be in that discussion. So I loved watching him play. And there was so much about his game that, I really enjoyed. But I wasn't a fan, so to speak. He wasn't my guy. And yet I could take and watch him and listen to him. That's the thing. I loved listening to him speak, because he was so eloquent, and then he was so willing to talk about the game and the craft. And this is one of the lessons that I learned from him, is whatever you do, give it your all. This man was all about focus, all about drive, all about work ethic, for his passion. His passion for, over 20 years of his life was basketball. And he gave everything he had to it. And there's such a great message there. And it's a message I always wanted my athletes to take. It doesn't just happen. The things we saw from him on the court in games, they didn't just happen because he was Kobe Bryant. They happened because of the thousands of hours that he put in a quiet gym with nobody around at 4 in the morning, from what I keep hearing, when he would he'd be up and getting his workouts in to become the best he was capable of becoming. And so that was the first message, the first lesson I learned from him. You give everything you have to your craft. You're relentless in your pursuit of excellence. Now, here was my one problem. I don't even know, that might be too strong a word. The thing that made me not so much a fan of him, why I didn't gravitate toward him, is I always felt, as an observer from the outside, his pursuit of excellence was for him. In other words, I felt there was a selfishness to him, that the whole focus of his drive and of who he was to become the best ever. I don't have a problem with that. But then at the expense of sometimes team. And maybe I'm totally off on that, totally wrong on that. but that's how it looked at times, based on the shots I saw him take, the decisions I saw him make at times, where I thought, seriously, you thought that was a better shot than the one with your teammate wide open, a whole lot closer to the basket? But then I learned the answer was yes. Why? Because nobody had worked harder. Nobody had put more time in. And so he trusted nobody more than himself to be able to make the shot and be the one who could do it. And so he was such a great player and had worked so hard that he knew, I have the best option to score in this instance. I am the best chance for us to have success right now. I always struggled in talking about him about selfish, because I don't know if it was truly selfish. It's just that he had such great belief in himself. Another great lesson. You have to be able to believe in yourself. And had such great belief in himself and his abilities that he would get it done. Yet as a coach, I tried to teach my players throughout all the years, probably my favorite characteristic of kids are when they're selfless, when they're all about team and they give to the team. And I didn't see that from Kobe Bryant until later in my life, when I realized the way he plays and what he believes he is doing is giving to the team the best he can. He just believes he's the best option all the time. And it took me a long time to kind of come up with that and realize that about him. So I don't know that he was selfish, but it was hard for me to carry that message to my kids, to my players, because they would watch him and think, oh, then I got to do that. I have to be that. And it's like, no, you don't. In moments, I want you to be totally selfish. In moments where you are the absolute best option, do not kick it out. Go do the thing that you are so good at doing. But make sure you're doing it because it's what's best for our team. And that's where I struggled at times, thinking, is Kobe actually doing that? The thing I loved most, though, about Kobe Bryant, and one of the things that I think maybe I learned the most, is that life is about so much more than just the one thing. And while he was so focused and so driven and so, laser focused on and working hard on his craft of basketball, once he was done with basketball, boom, he turned that to something else. He turned it to his family. He turned it to his businesses. He turned it to coaching. This guy became a coach. And I think his transition into the business world and family life and all from the basketball life was as good as we've seen, from an athlete. And the things that he was doing, I think, were going to be even bigger and even better than what he did in the game of basketball. And I'm saddened that we don't get to see where he was going to go with that and what he was going to do for his daughter, and I'm sure his daughters. But his one daughter who played basketball, and he was now coaching them, her and her teammates, and what he was giving. Here he was giving back. And so the final lesson that I take from Kobe Bryant is, when you find your passion, when you work so hard on it, and you recognize the importance of being laser focused and driven to be the best you can be at whatever that passion is, once you are there, once you are in that type of moment, give it away. Because that's what he was doing. I'm sure that's what he did so often throughout his career, giving tips and ideas to his teammates and all. But boy, we really saw that now at the end. As he was now transitioning into the next phases of his life. He was giving it away, coaching young girls, helping the WNBA, helping young girls start to become, their version of a Kobe Bryant, giving it away into his businesses, and then giving it away to family. When you have a passion, don't keep it in, give it away. Live your life as much as you possibly can is the final lesson that we learned from him in this tragic death, because we lost him way too early, and you just don't know when it's going to be over and when you're going to go. So make the most of your life, do all you can, be focused on it, be the best you can be, but then give away the gifts that you have, the things that you've learned, the things that you've worked on, and all that you've been able to become because of it. When you give it away, so many more can become that themselves. What a great gift that Kobe Bryant left us in the world. Rest in peace. to him, his daughter, and all of the people in that crash.